Alright guys, here we have something pretty cool, pretty special. This is a battery box that Big Daddy Don Garlits made himself for a Swamp Rat 31. There's a little back history. Here's an actual picture of the car. So I got this from Big himself. He signed it. He made this himself, and he had it gold anodized. You can see Swamp Rat 31 right on there. So this car was the one that went over in Washington and got completely destroyed. Unlike Swamp Rat 30 that blew over at Englishtown, that car got rebuilt and is now a permanent fixture in the Smithsonian Museum. But the Swamp Rat 31 was destroyed and is in Don Garlits Museum. The two posts in my comments, this is the bottom of the box, two videos I will show. One is of Swamp Rat 31 and one is the actual car in the museum. It's a pretty cool little box. Handmade by Big Daddy himself. And here's I guess these are the amperages maybe, or the voltages, I'm not sure. You got the pan, which is, I'm not sure, and the blower, maybe the blower for the air for inside the cockpit, I'm not sure. And you got an A right there. So this is the side. There's nothing written on either side of the bottom. You can see it's a little banged up. A little bit, not much. I think this is all from Big, from when he made the box. There's a little dent here, but I don't know if that's from when he made it, or maybe when it had its accident, its crash. Pretty cool piece of history. To own anything from any of his cars is, you know, forget about it. I mean, it's so hard to come by and really rare. Like I said, this is signed by him, made by him, for a car that is pretty well documented and it's got good history. Just a really cool piece. Swamp Rat 31. Like I said, there's a museum if you guys ever want to go. There it is in Ocala. There's actually a pretty cool video that he talks about when he crashed in this car. He wasn't really much for fire safety back in the day. And he was given a tour of the museum, and he was saying that way up in the front, he put the fire bottles way up in the front, he goes, for better weight distribution. And he goes, there's a small tiny little tube that ran all the way up this whole car. If you ever see the car, it's a really long car, and it goes into the cockpit, and there's a pull that you pull that lets all the gas out to extinguish the fire from the bottles in the front of the car. And he flipped upside down. He was laying in this car upside down, and he remembers he's saying, oh God, please don't catch on fire, please don't catch on fire. And some of the gas was starting to leak down, and it hit the header, and the car caught on fire. And he goes, man, I hope this fire safety thing works. and he pulled it and it actually worked. That's amazing. This car is completely mangled, and that little tiny tube that carried it all the way to the cockpit still worked and was intact. Obviously Don was a big believer in fire safety after that crash. That definitely saved his life. He probably wouldn't be here for that unless it was for that fire safety equipment, and thank God it worked. You know, Don is a really strong believer in God and everything like that. And he has the cross on the car. It's hard to see in this picture. But really cool story to hear him tell it. And he was like, oh man, he goes, that little tiny tube, he couldn't believe it, that it actually was still intact. So yeah, just a cool little story to share with you guys with this cool little box. I'm really thankful to have this. So there you go, guys. Just something different to share. As you can see, I do like dragsters, and Don's one of my, I've always as a kid loved watching them race. So alright guys, you have a good night, and we will be back soon. Take it easy.